It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
We are live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Carte blanche for the sports hit list by the fans and for the fans. Let me introduce my panel. We have Mr. Box Office, sir. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. Made it through another week. We over the halfway mark, so we gotta get to the finishing home stretch.
You made the cut. Apparently, Rick and Paul are suspended due to their lack of picks last week in my rant. Therefore, they're not here right now. They're suspended indefinitely. I don't know when they'll show up, but I had to take some course of action with the lack of great picks. We have Greg Polius, sir. How you doing, man? On the road. Be safe, bro.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Try to stay safe. Numbers going up. So you guys just stay safe while you out there.
We have Declan's in the building. Declan, how you doing, man?
Carl, thanks for having me. Doing good. Ray, special shout out to you. Happy Veterans Day, my man. My favorite Cowboys fan. That says a lot. Happy Vets Day.
And as everyone has said before, our resident commissioner, self-proclaimed commissioner, who is a petty officer first class for the U.S. Navy, Ray, today is your day. We want to thank you for all your services and everything that you do and for all those that you work with. Thank you for everything and being able to take that stride into the Navy.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, man.
Now, what what made you decide to go into the Navy? Like, what was the deciding factor, and why did you do it?
All right, senior year, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? I took the SATs, got a good score, but I didn't really want to go to school anymore. So I entered the DEP program, and but my mom was like, "Hey, just give junior college a semester, one try." I was like, all right, cool. So I waited like a whole year. I did the junior college thing. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. And basically, I joined the Navy because my sister was already in the Army. I seen how that worked out for her. So I was like, hey, let me join the Navy. I was supposed to only do 4 years, get out, go back to Jersey, and go back to school. But as you can see, 16 years later, I'm still in.
Well, God bless, man. So
right.
16-year vet, I guess. How's it been? I mean, what are the positives of being in the Navy and what you guys do?
My thing, the positives is pretty much, it's a lot. I went to school for free while I'm in. So I didn't even touch my GI Bill. So I've been going to school. They've been paying for it as long as I pass the class. It's free. And once I retire, I still have my full GI Bill waiting for me.
That's dope.
So, traveling's been great. The meeting people, like different types of people, has been the best part for me. Like I've met so many different people that I probably would have never met if I would have stayed in Jersey. Like I literally can now almost, I'm not saying every state, but close to every state, I know someone, and if I ever went to that state, I can call somebody and go get you.
So we know the ladies love a man in uniform. So is it safe to say that that's been a plus on your end?
Oh man, the uniform definitely pulls them. I will say that. I've seen it, and it's actually worked for me a couple of times. So I'm not even gonna lie. It's a good.
What words of advice before?
That's why Carl's wearing a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air jersey.
What words of advice could you possibly give to anyone who may be on the fence or who may be considering joining the Army, and why should they join?
He's in the Navy, bro.
Navy. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Navy. I had to be Greg to correct me. The Navy. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
He's been breaking balls all day.
My advice is like, if you don't know what you're gonna do, because like a lot of kids finished in high school, they really don't know what they want to do. Some go to college and they still don't know why in the college. They don't know what to do. My thing is like, hey, join, do 4 years, get out, and you got a GI Bill where you don't have to pay. You're not going to be in school debt. You're not going to be in this and that. And plus, it was a great time. You know what I'm saying? It's been my first 4 years in the military were probably the best. I ain't gonna lie. Man, we did so much crazy things. I was stationed in California, so
Ray looks like he can't even talk about it. He's just like stuff. That's it. Let's move on.
He's been swearing to silence.
Yeah, he's like, Carl, come on, let's move on to sports now. I'm tired of the question, bro. Let's just go. I can't say anymore. But again, just thank you again for all your services, and 16 years in is incredible, and keep doing what you do. Without what you do, helping us keep our country safe. So again, happy Veterans Day. I hope you're enjoying the day and being praised as you should be.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thanks for everybody who supports the vets and who just appreciates us today, man. Keep doing it.
So with that said, let's move along to some football. As I stated, Ricardo, I see you in the comments saying that you're suspended. You could be in the lead, but you could still get suspended. I don't care about that. That doesn't matter to me. I could basically call whoever gets suspended or not. With that said, though, Rick does lead in our pick'em standings. He's at 74. Travis is at 71. Ray is at 70. Paul is at 67. Walmack had the most picks last week at 11 out of everyone. He had 11 picks. He leads Travis by 3. 65 to 62 heading into week 10. So Travis, you did say that last week was a crazy week to pick games. What are your thoughts over the upsets? I would say,
man, certain teams, I think that the Bucs and Saints game, that was a big one right there, because that's probably going to prevent the Bucs from winning that division right there, which means they are going to have to play all 3 weekends and no bye week. Tom Brady has never won a Super Bowl without a bye week. Shout out to, it wasn't necessarily an upset, but shout out to the Ravens. I know I give Lamar Jackson a lot of heat, about those double-digit deficits, but he overcame a double-digit deficit as a team right there. Hopefully they can use that to catapult them to the next level right there. Also, what was one of the other big upsets that we had going on? That was crazy.
We had the Bills. You guys told me the Bills were overrated, and they ended up winning that game. No chance to win that game.
Oh, here we go. Dak, yeah.
It's
Dak,
true.
He's ready.
Go ahead, Dak. Talk it. Go ahead, Dak. Put your chest out.
Before we get into that, the Seattle offense, you can't win a game when Russell Wilson's turning it over 4 times. I mean, that one right there might hurt his MVP race right there. But even though they did look bad, I think they look promising because they got Adams back, and then Carlos Dunlap, he did look good coming. He was out there making plays. So I think give it a couple weeks, we'll see what that defense really morphs into.
Okay, Greg, could you talk upon the Dolphins and their big win against the Cardinals? It was a close game, really great game.
It was. I think the Dolphins are what we're seeing is the foundation of a really well-coached team. And whether they make the playoffs or not is not really much of a big deal this year, but the fact that they're competing the way they are and with the young team under Flores, I think it bodes well for them in the future.
Mm-hmm. So, Ray, what were your thoughts with the upsets?
I was a little shocked. I will say this: I'm very impressed with what the Dolphins is doing, and I'm gonna say it just like this. I'm just going now. I'm just gonna say I think they win in the division. I like everything I see.
Wow.
So I have them somehow taking it away from the Bills.
Wow. Okay. And Declan, go ahead. Talk your talk, man. Talk your shit. Go ahead, bro. I know you want to.
Carl, thanks for not holding me back. I was very excited.
Not at all.
Obviously. I want to maybe cool it because, Greg's got to get home safely. I don't want him. It's not a green screen, although it may look like Greg's on a green screen again. It's not a green screen. He's got to get home safely. So maybe I won't go in too hard here, but Josh Allen, listen, I'm going to first off start with this. Ray, today's your day, but Josh Allen and the Bills are winning the division. I'm gonna leave it at that. I do think the Dolphins are an aspiring team. They've been good, honestly, since Fitz was the quarterback, and now with Tua, it seems like nothing got lost in translation. It's working there. But I'm going to talk about the Bills. I was going to come on here today with a Josh Allen jersey, but I decided against it. Because I wanted to rock the camo. It's Veterans Day. And plus, Carl's got the gun. Got you. Carl's got the guns out. He's the only one who deserves to have a jersey today. He's been on the JLEX workout program for sure.
Nick is killing it today. I gotta wrap myself up here. Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead, man. Continue, man. Are you good?
Anyway, Yeah, all right, we good. All right, so Josh Allen, right? The shredded, destroyed, whatever you want to call it, the Seahawks defense. Seahawks defense, it's no secret they're bad. I'm not going to overhype a performance, although Josh Allen did play very well, probably the best game of his career. The one thing I would say on the contrary is that nobody's put up 44 against the Seahawks this year, and it's put up 45 in the NFL. Even today's NFL, the passing league it is still impressive. Josh Allen has been, he started off phenomenal, fell off a little bit, and now he's starting to get back on the wagon to secure the team a playoff spot. They're 7-2, just like Greg's fantasy team that I beat this week. So I'm feeling pretty good about how Josh Allen's been doing.
Hey, first place is first place, bro.
I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm not.
Don't.
He's high on the float right now. I'm not gonna tear him down. But yeah, Josh Allen was really good this week.
So today's question, before we get along to game balls, I know we develop our segments through just our daily conversations, and Rick had a great point. Shout out to Rick, even though he's suspended. He mentioned the question about
homework still due, right, Teach?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. You're damn right. ISS, in school suspension. Let's do it. Why not, right? But he asked a question, and he thought we could bring this to the front of the congregation: is what sets an organization back worse? A bad quarterback or a head coach? So, Greg, let me start with you here.
I'm definitely going to go with bad coach. We've seen bad coaching affect quarterbacks in a negative light on too many occasions to say that it's the quarterback as opposed to the coach. We have, just to give an example, Mr. 9-7, Jeff Fisher, okay? When Jeff Fisher had Jared Goff, people were calling him a bust. Soon as Sean McVay comes in, guy's in a Super Bowl in a couple of years.
Good point.
Okay, so Ray, are you going to second that? Are you going to agree with his point about it being the head coach?
Yes, it's definitely the head coach. I mean, in football, coaching is like the most important thing. I would think it outweighs. It doesn't outweigh it, but you need good coaching in order to win. You can't really. I never seen a team win with bad coaching.
Okay, Declan.
Yeah. So listen, I've been pretty passionate about this week. I'm going to go with the quarterback here, and here's why. Greg, your example with the coaching, I completely understand that. But the question isn't what holds a team back, what prevents a team from being good. It's what sets an organization back. So unless I misinterpreted the question, setting an organization back is if you make the bad pick, if you hire the bad coach, or if you pick the bad quarterback, your organization is essentially screwed for a decent amount of time. I just don't think that's the case when you have a bad coach. Let's look at the Miami Dolphins, for example. They had Adam Gase, who was obviously, as we know now, one of the worst coaches, if not the worst coach in football with the Jets right now. Adam Gase leaves. They have 1 year of turnover with Brian Flores, and now Ray just picked them to win the division. So they're a playoff contending team. They now got their quarterback. Excuse me. So the idea that, a bad coach can set, like that hiring can set an organization back is unparalleled to what a quarterback can do for that team. I mean, even like if we look at the Ryan Leaf years, that set back the Chargers. Jamarcus Russell was the biggest draft bust in NFL history. That set back the Raiders for 8 years, almost a decade. So I would much rather hire a bad coach, get rid of him after 2 years, than have to deal with a bad quarterback. And first of all, it's going to be tougher to get rid of him. And you make the bad draft pick, you essentially just punted 3 to 4, maybe 5 years away. So my opinion,
basically, in essence, what you're saying is Danny Dimes may set the Giants back.
No, he may. No doubt. He might. 100%.
Hold on, Carl. I want to respond to Declan real quick because he kind of proved our point.
What did Ray say?
Go ahead. Wait. Go ahead 1 second, Greg. Ray, what did you say?
It doesn't. These picks don't set you back no more. Arizona's shown that. They had.
Thank you, Ray.
But that's
Josh Rosen.
Yeah, Josh Rosen. But 1 year, they got back to the number 1 pick, and they were like, okay, he's not. Here goes another quarterback, and then boom, look at him.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. But exactly on the contrary is that they had bad coaching there. Greg's the first one to tell you he doesn't think Josh Rosen got a fair shake. They get bad coaching, new coaching. Now the system's better. Coaching doesn't set you back as far as you can get rid. That's exactly my point. If I'm just saying.
So let me get box office. You've been kind of quiet, man. I'm surprised.
What's going on?
Let's tell the people. Travis is upset. Tell him why you mad, Travis. Travis is
Yo, my trade got vetoed out here in the streets.
Like
I'm hot right now.
His trade got
vetoed. Right. Yo, Ed, I feel your pain, yo. I feel your pain. I got vetoed on the trade. I'm out here hot. I'm arguing with people in chats.
Travis came into the hitless meeting before we go on. He's like, yo, I'm pissed, man. That guy Peter's league just blocked my trade. I don't know who did. I need to know who did it.
What was the trade?
It was Michael Thomas and Les Bell for Tua, Darrell Henderson, and Cole Beasley.
Of course they blocked that trade. What is that?
Why would you block? All right, hold on. Why would you block that? He needs a running back. Look at his wide receivers. He has Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, and Emmanuel Sanders.
Okay,
wait. So
you know what?
He's giving up.
We'll come back to that. Yes. Okay, we'll come back to that.
It's a 2-quarterback league.
Are you the one?
Okay, Travis, guys, time out. You know what,
Yeah.
Travis? We'll come back to it. But what are your thoughts about the question?
That's your fault, Carl. Yeah, that's your fault.
I know.
Right.
I didn't think he was going to go on. My bad.
Back to the question, man. I'm going to have to go with the coaching, but that's only up until recently. Because when they instituted the rookie wage scale, because remember that from the financial standpoint, missing on that top 10 quarterback used to set your franchise back years because you had to pay that quarterback so much money.
Great point.
Take the Arizona Cardinals, for instance. They traded picks to get Josh Rosen and then moved off him the next year to get Kyler Murray. So I can't sit here and say with the rookie wage scale, it's made it a little bit easier to stomach a bust at that first round, that top 10 quarterback right there. So right now we got to go with the coaching because the prime example, Greg's team, man, look at them Jets, man. They done ruined old boy Sam Darnold, man. It is just not that poor kid. I feel bad for that kid, man. It's crazy.
Right. But if you get a new regime with the Jets, even if you get a new quarterback, that might not set you back years, whereas if you missed on a QB. I personally think they missed on Sam Darnold, but that's another story. I want to get into what you said about the wages very quickly, Carl. Joe Burrow has signed, I think, a $36 million deal where he's got a $23 million signing bonus, 26, something like that. So he's making a ton of money. If he's a bust, obviously we know he's not. But if, say, he was a bust like Sam Bradford, like that set the Rams back until the Jared Goff years, until Jeff Fisher got out of town and McVay came in. But even still, that was the
Sam Bradford.
Yeah, I know. I heard it.
You just contradicted
yourself. I did not.
Yes, you did.
First of all,
you said Sam Bradford years, and then you talked about Jeff Fisher and not being better, and that was the first example I used.
So if Sam Bradford had anybody else, it would have worked out. Because did he work out at any point in his career at the other teams he was on? He was not just a Ram.
Sam Bradford, before he got hurt in Philly, was actually playing well.
He was all right. He was honestly nothing special, but that's fine. I don't think anybody thinks that Sam Bradford was the answer. It's just the timing of it. But here's what I'm saying. But again, Jeff Fisher, that holds back. It doesn't set you back, because if it set you back, you wouldn't be in the playoffs.
You're playing semantics, bro. You're playing semantics. That's what it is.
Are we saying holding back? Are we saying holding back or setting back?
So let me ask this fair question, though. How often do we see – but don't we see more head coaching changes and more quarterback changes in the league?
It depends on the year, honestly.
Yeah.
No, we 100% see more head coaching changes in the league.
That's not entirely accurate.
It's definitely accurate.
They'll give quarterbacks a while, but I'm telling you, this Arizona, what Arizona did, I wouldn't be surprised if more teams start doing that.
True, but that's one team. That's an exception.
But you're gonna have
see that.
You want to say some stuff?
Because the Jets are gonna be in the same situation, and the Giants as well.
The Giants, honestly, the Giants will not move on from Daniel Jones.
Carl, we got a special guest. Shout out to Steph.
Oh, what's going on?
Oh, how's it going?
Listen, I haven't seen Steph. Listen, I haven't seen Steph since he caused that Mount Rushmore Babe Ruth overrated comment. That's how I saw him pull up. What's going on, man?
Hey, you're welcome for that, by the way.
I appreciate that. That caused a lot of problems. I appreciate that, man. I hope you're staying safe.
Good. No, I am. Thank you. I appreciate the conversation. I've been listening, staying quiet. You know, I got some good jokes. Declan, what's up? Ray, I don't know you personally, but happy Veterans Day, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Trying, Travis, I don't know you either, but how you doing, bro? But real quick, just to speak on it, you guys brought up Arizona, but you also see that example in Miami as well, right? Like, why did Fitzpatrick end up getting benched? Now, it's all speculation, but they wanted to see what Tua could do, right? And it makes sense in why Miami played Tua so early. Because if they did have to move on, they were ready to move on from him. Because if they have a chance at another quarterback, why won't we take the chance now instead of holding on to this quarterback now for 3, 4, 5 years, and he's not the solution. So the quarterback roulette is going to it's going to increase in these coming years, where a team isn't going to be beholden to their QB anymore because they don't have to invest the stock in them like they used to. All right. So I am on board with the coaching being more important because a system could really make a quarterback or break them. Right. And if you implement the right system for your franchise, your team is set for years. Look at what New England has done. Right. Obviously Tom Brady is a big part of that. They don't have a quarterback now, but that system did wonders for every quarterback that came in place with Tom Brady in that time frame too. Matt Castle ain't in the league no more. Matt Castle was amazing.
He went 10-6. He went 10-6.
You know what I mean? So if you get the right system in place, the right coach, and in the right organization, you can produce great numbers, even with mediocre quarterbacks. Right? They can make great quarterbacks amazing and decent quarterbacks great. So they just elevate the game. But if you don't have that great coach, you will end up needing that stud quarterback, which we all know is hard to come across them. All right. So I just think the coaching can elevate your organization and put you in a place where you can actually compete year in and year out. Whereas your quarterback could falter in a couple years and you'll be lost if your coach doesn't know what the hell they're doing. A la Jeff Fisher.
That's my point, though, is that you're going to be set back.
Declan, it's not looking good for you, man. Thanks, Steph, for those comments. Steph, it's not looking good.
You're welcome, bro.
Well, hold on. I got comments by the way of my man Ricardo Etienne. So in Ricardo's closing arguments, he had 2 points that he wanted me to make on his behalf. Okay, one is the system that the Baltimore Ravens put in place that made Lamar Jackson an MVP. That is coaching. Coaches decided we're not going to try to make him a traditional QB. We are going to put him in a system that is centered around his strongest skill set. That's coaching. And then his last point, Carl, was now, not to make fun of you, Carl, but you as an example, this is not ragging on you, but would you consider yourself a good cook?
See, now you got to tell the you might as well just tell them, no, I'm horrible. I can't cook. It's no secret. It's already out there. They hit the streets. Carl Ange cannot cook. Yeah, I'm horrible.
So in Ricardo's in his example, he said, even if you got the best ingredients in the world to make a dinner, you still wouldn't be able to cook it, correct?
Correct. Yes, correct.
Now,
yes.
If you give Gordon Ramsay or Rachel Ray ingredients from a dollar store, they can still make you a 4-course meal, right?
That's fair, yes. Yeah, you know what?
So,
I see the card Ricardo played. It's okay. I got you, man. I got him. I see where he went. I got him. It's okay. I'm going to get him back.
So basically what Rick is saying is the chef in the kitchen matters more so than the meal.
I guess that pretty much
makes sense.
Debate. Okay, so
Carl, can I just say something
quick
though?
Yeah. So, are you agreeing with the panel now? Are you changing your argument?
I'm not changing my argument, but I'm agreeing with what they're saying. However, that's not what the question was. The question was literally, it was clear as day. The question was, what sets an organization back more? If you hire the wrong coach, you can hire a coach who gets it, who is a chef, going from, no offense, Carl, going from Carl to Rachel Ray within the span of a year and make the playoffs. You keep mentioning
not entirely accurate because you have better
Jeff Fisher, Sean McVay. They made the playoffs in his first year.
You don't get a Sean McVay coming out every year. Like,
okay,
the coaching pool is so small to pick from.
Gentlemen, I think we're going to have to turn this into another debate because you guys can go on and on and on. Let me just get your picks real quick.
If you hire the wrong coach, your franchise is not dead for 5 years. It's simple.
Like I said, if you guys want to make this a part two, if you guys want to make this a part two, we can. Let me get you guys.
I'm happy to do it. And we'll talk about Josh Allen, too.
If you guys, let me get your game balls real quick. Travis, who you giving your game balls to?
I'm going to make Declan very happy. I'm going to give my offensive game ball to Josh Allen, man.
You ain't making me happy. You stole my pick.
He had 81% completion, man, 415 yards, 4 TDs, a passer rating of 138.5. Man, that's a great game, and a game that they needed at that.
Okay, Ray, game ball.
I'm going with Cam Newton. Played the best, but when he needed to come through, he made the plays. So he gets my game ball, especially after games. I'm giving it to Cam Newton, regardless on the team he played. He deserves it because he earned it this week.
Okay, Greg,
go to Declan first.
Declan.
I'm going to give it to Jamal Adams. Just kidding. The Seahawks defense plays better without him. I was going to give it to Josh Allen, so now I got to think about it for a second. Well, I might have to give it to Tua T. He balled out. He upset the Cardinals, who just came off a win before the bye against the Seahawks. So I'll have to go with them. I'll have to go with Tua. Excuse me.
Greg.
I'm going with Richie James from the 49ers, who was essentially a practice squad wide receiver. He went for 9 balls on 13 targets for 184 yards on a TD and had 3 receptions over 40 yards.
Okay, so guys, let's do a quick no huddle for tomorrow's Thursday night game. We got the Colts and the Titans. Travis, who you got?
Man, I'm going to go Titans with this one. At home on Thursday night, man. You know how I feel about the home team on Thursday night. That strong run game. Hopefully they learn to rush the passer, man.
Okay. Kamish?
I'm going with the Colts.
Colts. Declan?
I'm going to go with the Titans. I just want to give a quick shout out to Logan Ryan. He got the game-sealing pick on Sunday after his wife almost died from an ectopic pregnancy. Also, he gave my friends some cleats this week that said vote on them. Shout out to Logan Ryan. But, yeah, I'm going with the Titans.
Greg?
I'm going to go with the Titans. I just traded for me and Steph just traded for Derrick Henry, so we hoping for a big night on the ground.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me here. Declan and Greg are going to stick around and we talk some baseball and minor league. Ray, again, happy Veterans Day, bro. Go out there and enjoy it. Put that uniform on, wear it proud. Travis, you've been upset, man. Go get something to drink, bro. Listen, I got you covered, brother. I got you some ice.
Yo, I'm in this chat right
for the
now
first time
off.
in this segment, we seen you so quiet. I was like, what's wrong with him? I realized you were so focused and upset about that trade, bro.
In the chat right now, yo. This is nuts, yo.
I thought his goldfish died.
I'm going to talk to you guys soon. You're watching the Sports Hitlers by the fans and for the fans. Let me bring in my next contributors for some baseball. He's calling himself Manny Schefter when it comes to Manny. And we have Chuck also coming in too as well as we discuss some baseball. Coming up later, we have Sean versus Brett in the debate. And is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar overrated is next. So, Chuck, how's your off-season been, man? I know you've been on team hockey, so you guys have been on off-season. I see you growing the hair. What's going on, man?
Well, it's pouring outside, and I just got soaked, so my hair's a little messed up.
Still look good, Chuck.
Thank you. Shout out to you.
And also, let's not forget, tonight is Chicago Wednesdays. For those who don't know and who loves Dick Wolf's Chicago series, Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD, tonight. I got to give a plug to that show. Awesome series. If you love Chicago Wednesdays, tune into NBC.
I can't wait, Carl.
Wait, did you say Chicago Fire?
Chicago Fire, yeah.
I thought you were talking about the Bears quarterback situation.
No, but I'm
Manny Schefter. Is that your new name? You got a nickname now, Manny Schefter?
That's it,
on, brother?
Manny Chef. I come up with all the breaking news whenever my man Adam puts it up. I'm on the spot.
All right, guys. So we're in the midst of football season. You guys are on your off season, but the baseball panel felt it was imperative and important that we talk about what's going on with the minor league system. Greg, what are your thoughts here, being the former player, of what Manfred's trying to do?
I think it's a shame for baseball, like on all accounts. What Manfred is doing is taking away opportunities from so many young kids that are never going to get it. Declan said something in one of the comments, a couple days ago about after the first 10 or 15 rounds, it really won't matter anymore because these lower level programs, these instructional programs, instructional minor league leagues we had, these players are now losing out, and there's nowhere for them to go to get that, immediate pipeline to the MLB ball club.
Mm-hmm. Manny, what are your thoughts here, man? I'm hoping you go off here.
I'm furious, but again, come on, it's Rob Manfred. You know how much I feel about this guy. I hate this man to the core. He's destroying baseball, regardless of who it is. And now he's not only screwing a bunch of these young athletes that are trying to make it to the majors, make it far. He's also destroying small towns and other communities that rely on these baseball teams.
Absolutely.
Especially people that work in those fields and stuff like that, like concessions and stuff. So he's destroying any opportunity, not just for these young players, but for other people that are affected to actually work in those
fields. A lot of these small town economies
times.
Revolve around their minor league system.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Chuck, what are your thoughts here?
to flat out say I agree with Greg and Manny, and I'm sure that Declan's going to have the same opinion, but it just sucks. And I think it was a move that MLB was trying to make for a couple of years now, even though it never got as to where it is now. And I think they used COVID as an example to do it. The draft last year was only 5 rounds, so you already know they're going to want to shorten the draft now. And now they're eliminating all these minor league teams because throughout the season they had instructionals at their spring training complexes. So that even goes to show that, hey, we don't need minor league teams. We don't need to be paying for all, for the traveling and whatnot. Forget about the minor leagues. Let's just shorten it and save ourselves money. And they're using COVID as a perfect excuse, and it's terrible.
Declan.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to echo Chuck's thoughts. First of all, Chuck, it's been a while since I've seen you. I think we were both crying about the Yankees last time.
I know.
Listen, Chuck's in the off season right now with no Yankees, no Islanders. They'll be back in next year.
I bet he wishes in the off season with his Jets Rams. My God.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back off this, I think it's horrible for the game. It's actually very upsetting. It's emotionally draining to even think about what Rob Manfred's doing for the game of baseball. As a commissioner, you're supposed to work for the owners, and I'm sure the owners have. We can get at them for this too. But you're supposed to work for the owners, and you're supposed to better the game and leave it better than you found it. Nothing about the move he made, where he's taken out kids' dreams, he's taken out small town economies, he's taken out umpiring jobs, broadcasting jobs, concession jobs, stadium usage. So much more is leveled into this playing field of what he's getting rid of than the actual game that's on the field. And it's disgusting. A guy like Seth Lugo, for example, he comes to mind, 34th round draft pick. 2011 New York Mets. He winds up making his debut at age 23, and now he's solidifying himself as, I personally think he can be a legit starter in the MLB, and he's definitely a great reliever. He's very versatile. He could pitch probably any inning in the game, no sweat. But it's upsetting to me because dreams like that are getting killed, and you won't see, you're right, Chuck, they're using COVID as an excuse to do it, and I think he needs to be impeached. I'm going to say that with a straight face. He needs to be impeached.
So
he needs the hands.
Before I let you guys go, let me say this. Could there be an alternative where somebody else comes up with a minor league system to help these players, or going overseas to play? I know the game may not be as popular overseas, but could that be an option for young players to go over there?
Carl, before I answer your question, there was one more point I wanted to get off real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The owners have no excuse as far as not paying these guys because they already make less than minimum wage and they ride around on buses. They don't even travel in planes to play, and they if they make $1,200 a month, that's lucky. You know what I'm saying? So for them to sit here and say it's a loss on the bottom dollar because of half a season, I'm not buying it. That's ridiculous. I don't want to hear it. And furthermore, what's going to happen is now the competition is going to get so much stiffer that guys that are fringe minor league players are going to miss out. But to answer your question, no, I don't think there's something that could sustain that because it comes from the MLB money.
Okay. Declan, do you possibly see is overseas ever an option for baseball players possibly now with this new system or no?
Right. So, I mean, here I'll try to make it very quick as always, but I'm like the Travis McKay of the baseball segment here. But what I'll say is that we saw the guy in the first round go. He signed overseas. He got drafted in the first round. Scott Boras represented him. That's case by case. Asking a kid from rural Louisiana or Tennessee or even like one of the Dakotas, or I think of Brandon Nimmo in Wyoming. Like, we're asking these guys to pick up their lives and move to a different country to play the game they love because this clown can't, basically institute a minor league system that worked. And, I mean, let's be honest, it's been working for years. There's no problem with the minor league system. It's awesome. There's a perfect amount of teams. Baseball is a sport where many guys will break in. I'm not saying it's easy to break in at all, but many guys will have the opportunity to break in because it's a great game. It's America's game. It's national pastime. So the fact that we're taking away dreams, killing dreams, no, we're not going to ask people to go overseas to play. What I think hopefully happens is that they decide in 2 years, all right, this was stupid. We've killed enough dreams already. Let's not do it for a couple more decades like morons. And they institute it back in. I personally, I can rant about it all day. It's so terrible for the game of baseball and for the youth baseball players in America, in this country, and maybe even the ones coming from other countries. And I'll wrap this up quickly. Like the Cyclones are probably going to get taken out, even though there was a rumor that they could go be a AA team. I hope that fulfills itself, but I haven't heard much on that end. And the Staten Island Yankees are getting taken out. So now we're taking away iconic things. Listen, minor league baseball, not everyone goes, I get it, but that's iconic for the sports world. Coney Island, Staten Island, like that.
Yeah,
those are
but you know what? Not only that, like we've all been to some form of a Brooklyn Cyclones game over the summertime. That's what we do in Brooklyn. It's what people do. So I think, 4th of July out there. Manny, any final thoughts here?
Also, not only just the young athletes here in the U.S., we're talking about other players, especially majority of the time, the Dominican Republic. You got all these athletes. You have baseball teams in other countries and stuff that are developing these players to come and play in these AAA, AA, and single A teams. And now this guy just completely shredded it. So now what's the purpose? What about those athletes that are trying to make a living? They can make a better life out here playing baseball than over there in the islands and stuff like that. So there is no alternative. Honestly, what he needs to do is talk to them and be like, look, you guys took an L with a lot of money you lost, but guess what? You're going to gain it back eventually. Just keep the minor league teams. You have to give an opportunity to everybody. And I'm telling you, it's going to bite him, and eventually he's going to get fired. They're going to get rid of him. Players are going to get pissed off, and they're going to try to build something, a case against him, and probably sue. I hope it happens to him, because what he's doing is killing baseball. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Chuck, final thoughts.
Well, I think minor league baseball is its own brand in a way. Like they have like their own president, I believe, and whatnot. So it sucks because that brand is going to be getting hurt. But I think what we're going to see now as a domino effect, and I'll bring up why I think this is going to happen in a minute, is we're going to start seeing more MLB camps around the world, like down in DR, Puerto Rico, Cuba, overseas, China, Japan, all over Europe, Australia. I think we're going to start seeing that more. And I think what we're going to do is now with these teams that are no longer affiliated with an MLB team like the Trenton Thunder, because the Somerset Patriots took over as the Yankees AA, I believe, they said that I think either the Thunder or the Staten Island Yankees could have their spot in the Frontier League, which is an independent league. So I think we're going to start seeing more independent leagues take on these teams that got cut, and it's going to build up independent league baseball. And some of these other teams are going to start forming college wood bat summer leagues. And I think now kids that in high school that are not going to get the opportunity to be drafted, in like the 39th round are going to have to go on to college and play in college and then play in these wood bat leagues over the summer. So I think this is what the MLB might be trying to do to grow the game within, the NCAA and with the independent leagues and try to take money off them. But it definitely sucks all around. It sucks that I now can't go to a Staten Island Yankee game, hop on the ferry and go see, players rehabbing 20 minutes away. So it just sucks all around. It's bad for the game. It looks once again bad for Rob Manfred, and everything that this guy does, everything he touches turns sour. And the MLB is in a very bad state right now, without a doubt.
Yeah, all right, it's guys. A big move. It's a big move for a guy who called the World Series trophy a piece of metal. So,
you guys, thank you so much for joining here. We got two more segments coming up. Up next, we have Sean versus Brett, myself and Jay Lex. Make sure you tune in for that. And we have Kareem is Overrated 2 versus 1 coming up at 5 o'clock hour. You're watching the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. You guys stay safe out there. Greg, I'll talk to you soon. Declan, Chuck, enjoy the offseason. Chicago Wednesday.
Carl.
Tonight's
all that matters.
Yes, sir. Let me bring in Jay Lex and Tom Kenny as we continue.
Also, before I leave, shout out to all the veterans out there, to those who lost, and to those that are currently there fighting for our country.
Amen to that. So now we got the Sean versus Brett. You guys can talk among yourselves. I got to get ready for this debate. Give me 1 second.
Here we go.
Yep, it's going to be something. Are you ready, Jay?
I'm ready, man. I want to see what he's going to pull out. First, Larry Bird. Now,
I'm interested.
Yes, I want to see what he's got today.
Mm-hmm. You feel like you got a good argument?
I have a very good argument. I don't know how people are gonna feel about it. But
I had to get dressed up for the appropriate occasion. I had to change wardrobe because I have to come to represent the best of the best. You know how I do when it comes to Sean.
Here we go.
There's no debating. So today we're gonna do a little shift. Tom Kenny is the moderator while I step into the debate seat. So Tom Kenny, the floor is yours, my brother.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us here live on the Sports Hit List. Carl, thanks for letting me moderate this debate between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, Car Coulange, and Jay Lex. Carl, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. You know me. When it comes to HBK, there's always a winning game. You know I love HBK. I had to represent. So I'm great.
And Jay, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. Very, very well. I'm looking forward to this debate today.
Good. Okay, well, Jay, we'll start off with you. Bret Hart, the excellence of execution, the best there is, the best there was, the best that forever will be.
Yes.
There you go. State your case for Bret Hart here. Let's start off. Why do you think it's Bret Hart over Shawn Michaels?
Very simple. Carl's going to come up with this entire thing where he's talking about Shawn Michaels, his entrance, the pyro, and everything of that nature. But the reality is, Shawn Michaels was very charismatic. You don't get me wrong. He was a great worker and all that other stuff. But Bret Hart, first off, made Pink cool when Pink wasn't cool. He had a super dope entrance song, and he didn't even have to do much in terms to get himself over. He walked into the ring and was just like, it would go just like this and would be over with the crowd. Secondly, there are people that Bret Hart put over that you have to take note of. Number one, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Put him over. WrestleMania 13. Put up a great match against Diesel. I mean, he's got a 5-star match against Owen Hart at SummerSlam, the steel cage match. We're talking about a guy whose body of work, the guy when he went into the ring, worked like nobody else, was a great technician, and put on a show every single time. And he didn't have to do all the gyrating. He didn't have to do all the dancing and everything of that nature. He put everything in there. He was great in the ring, and that's the first part of my argument.
All right, good part. Carl, moving over to you real quickly. You are on the Shawn Michaels side, the Heartbreak Kid, the showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania. Do you have a rebuttal for that first statement by Mr. J.
So
Lex?
let me just get something straight. Just a couple of things. He said that Bret put over Stone Cold. So did Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels did the same thing.
Hold on.
But he
no,
did.
you know what? Finish your statement. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Let Carl finish his statement, and then we'll get to you, Jay.
Clearly, this argument, he talks about how Shawn didn't have to, he says Bret didn't have to gyrate and Bret didn't have to dance in his music. He didn't have the charisma. That's because Bret couldn't do it. We all know that Bret couldn't do it. And that's where I kill his argument, is the fact that they had to put his brother-in-law, Jimmy Anvil Neidhart, with Bret because they knew Bret couldn't talk on the mic. That's why Bret wasn't charismatic. I'm not going to sit here and take anything away from Bret Hart because he's the greatest technical wrestler of all time. He can have that. But as far as when you're looking at the total package, we just knew Bret for wrestling. Bret couldn't speak. He couldn't do any of those things that drew. And when you had Hogan leave, Bret was your champion. What were they doing? Nothing with Bret as champion in 1994 when he won it at WrestleMania 10. He wasn't doing much. So we knew Bret wasn't drawing in that much because of the fact that Jay said he wasn't correct. He just wasn't charismatic. He couldn't do all those things. So I think when it comes down to it, Shawn has that extra package that Bret couldn't deliver.
All right, Jay, Carl says that Bret wasn't charismatic enough and he couldn't deliver on the mic. Is there anything you'd like to say to that or to the fact about putting over Steve Austin?
The fact that, first off, the only reason he put Steve Austin over was because Undertaker was going to beat his ass in Gorilla if he hadn't put him over. That's number one. Number two, I'm not going to say Bret Hart was as charismatic, but watch him as a heel when he's doing the whole Canada versus United States thing. That is some of the best heel work during that time period. All right, so you talk about, he needed Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Let's be clear. Shawn didn't draw as a champion. I've done all the research. He didn't draw as a champion. I know part of that was the NWO and everything of that nature, but by the time he lost the championship and Bret Hart had gone to WCW, Shawn Michaels was retired. But during his run as champion after he beat Psycho Sid, he wasn't drawing numbers. In fact, I saw something earlier today. He did 60,000, I think, at the Alamo Dome. Half those tickets WWF had to give away for free just so they could have butts in the seats.
That kills your argument because Bret wasn't doing it either. So what's your point?
He was doing it more than
he wasn't doing it either, though. He wasn't doing it either. Bret wasn't selling as a champion. And last night in my promo, I literally told you he was holding the title for Shawn. And we knew this, and he was upset about that. So he wasn't doing it either if you want to talk about numbers. And then when you go into it, Shawn took a 4-year hiatus and came back and main evented. You want to talk about matches? Let's not even get into that. Match quality is where I kill you too because Shawn took 4 years off for his herniated disc, comes back, and still main events.
Well, before we get to prime, Carl, what would you say, though? He said that Shawn Michaels didn't draw. The numbers there for Shawn Michaels over that period of time when he was champion is low. And there's also all the factors that Shawn Michaels was a problem backstage. Do you think that factors in?
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay, so he wants to say that Shawn didn't draw. Fine. The reason why Shawn didn't draw, I don't want to sit here and make excuses, is because a lot of the WWE primetime talent, they left for WCW. The other part of it is Vince didn't really, there was no attitude era. So from the time of between, you'd want to say 94 to 96, the storyline sucked. That's why no one was getting anywhere. You were getting storylines like Hakushi. You were getting like kid gimmicks that wasn't working. It's not until 1997, which we had, I guess, the Montreal Screwjob or D-Generation X, which Shawn was part of, and he created and helped engineer the WWE into the Attitude Era. It was Shawn who did that, right? That's when you started seeing a lot more of the ratings go up. But to be fair, during those years, the product stuck, right? And that's why WCW was winning. The minute Hogan went heel in 1996, that blew their ratings out the water. There was no way for them to compete with that, which is why Vince decided he was going to go towards the Attitude Era.
So,
all right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Jay, I was going to say, do you want to respond to anything there?
So your argument is, you said before that Bret Hart needed the Hart Foundation to kind of put him over. Isn't that the same thing you can say about Shawn with D-Generation X? It's the same exact thing. So what is your argument?
No, I said no.
Not
Not what I said. Don't put words in my mouth. I said Jim the Anvil Neidhart. He didn't need to put him over. He needed him to be his mouthpiece. Shawn could be a good guy and a bad guy on his own.
Go back and watch when he was a heel. It was some of his best work. I'm not saying that he's Shawn, but don't tell me that he's not charismatic. The guy had an entire country hate him when he was going out there and one city after the other because he was bad-mouthing the United States, even though it was scripted. The guy had plenty of charisma. He just wasn't Shawn, who was kind of over the top. He was more subtle about his. So your argument doesn't hold weight because Shawn, and the only way Shawn drew was when D-Generation X came along.
Go ahead,
right,
TK,
Jay,
you had a point?
Before we head back to Carl real quick, you say one of the problems with Shawn Michaels is that he didn't draw, but when Bret Hart left the WWF in 1997 after the Montreal Screwjob, he was arguably the hottest pro wrestler around. He went to WCW, but then did nothing.
He wet the bed, changed the sheets. Just call it what it is.
No.
He wet the bed.
Why was he not able to help out WCW?
He wet the bed. Call it what it is. He wet the bed at WCW.
Well, hold on, Carl. This is for Jay. I'll let you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Because even Eric Bischoff fully acknowledges that they dropped the ball when it came to Bret Hart. His first appearance on TV was as a special guest referee in a match. I forget who was refereeing that night. If he's the hottest free agent, you don't put him as a special guest referee against two guys on Nitro. You put him against whoever the hottest person is in the country, and they dropped the ball on it. I'm not saying that he was great in WCW. The whole Goldberg thing happened. I am saying before that, he was the hottest man in the business. Period. Hotter than Shawn. Hotter than anybody.
Not hotter than Shawn, but okay, whatever. Go ahead.
Stop it. Come on, son. Stop it, B.
Moving quickly to match quality, Carl. Shawn Michaels has had many match of the years from Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So has Bret Hart's. Give me some examples of Shawn in ring and some matches. Why you think he is better than Bret?
Listen. We're not going to sit here and try to discredit Shawn. Shawn well into his 40s was at his prime, and people wondered why he retired after WrestleMania 26. Right? You have two great matches with Undertaker in his prime. WrestleMania 25, which was great. WrestleMania 26. You have his Flair match where he retired Ric Flair, another great match. His match against John Cena. And again, I'm not talking about Shawn in his prime. I'm talking past his prime. In his 40s, Shawn is still main eventing. He main evented against Chris Jericho, WrestleMania 19, Seiko Field. That was an excellent match. That should have been part of a main event. That was a great match. It should have been, right? You also had the one the following year against Chris Benoit and Triple H in the triple threat match. What do you want to talk about here? The only match out of those years that you can say Shawn didn't play great in was against Vince, because it was Vince. Because Vince is Vince. Other than that, post 2000 Shawn Michaels, another great match. The return match against Triple H, SummerSlam. Right? 2002. That was in New York, in my backyard. That was a 5-star match for Shawn Michaels.
That was not a 5-star match.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Get out of here. Yes, it was. Shawn Michaels off the top rope when he goes like this.
I'll give you.
That was not a 5-star match?
That was not a 5-star match.
You're lying. Stop lying. Stop lying on the platform. You're lying. You're lying. That was a 5-star match. SummerSlam 2002 was a 5-star match. You're lying. Against John Cena was a 5-star match. Stop it.
Oh, here we go.
And that's not even talking about early on Shawn Michaels. Again, you have Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 10, the first ever ladder match against Razor Ramon.
I'll give you that one, yes.
SummerSlam 1995, another great match against Razor Ramon. Great match against Bret Hart. Iron Man match goes the distance.
I'll give you that one too. Both involving
you can give me all the other matches you want to. Shawn Michaels put on the clinic. First ever Hell in a Cell match against The Undertaker, 1997, Bad Blood. Who was in that match? Shawn Michaels. Stop it.
Well, I do see Shawn Michaels definitely having a lot of matches, but Jay, just if you want to reply to any of that.
Yes, Shawn Michaels had some great matches, but like I said, I'm going to give you a couple. Shawn Michaels Diesel, I believe that was in your house when he dropped the title to Diesel, which is almost impossible because Kevin Nash never has any good matches. Let's be clear about that. Stone Cold, WrestleMania 13. Owen Hart, WrestleMania 10 and SummerSlam Steel Cage match. We could go match for match all day. The reality is they were both great in-ring workers, but the problem with Shawn was a terrible backstage person, and he held a lot of people
down.
That doesn't count, right? We give Hulk Hogan hell for using an N-word when he was banging his wife's friend's wife. That doesn't count, right?
I'm sick and tired of that argument. We sitting here talking about
it's a valid argument.
And we're talking about backstage politics.
Playboy.
Well, have all the names you want to. I don't care. Guys. We're sitting here talking about backstage politics, and you're not talking about the product. We're talking about the product. What's the game of the goal is to get ahead, right? So Shawn did what he had to do. If he had to have his buddies get ahead,
he held down so many people who Bret put over. I'm just going to give you a couple names.
What are you talking about? Shawn helped out. Shawn didn't help people out.
Who are in the clique, not anybody else.
He still helped them. He didn't help Triple H.
They didn't need him.
He didn't help
Big Van Vader, Bam Bam Bigelow, Jim Neidhart, the Bulldog, Owen Hart. He pretend fainted when they were going to put. He was supposed to put Owen Hart over. Get out of here, B.
Please, man, please.
Hell, the Hurricane, who The Rock put over. The Hurricane, who The Rock, who you called last week the GOAT. Stop it.
He didn't put anybody over. He put Cena over. Yes, he did. Right? He did do that. They put Benoit over. He was in triple threat match. He did that too.
So did Bret Hart. What's your point?
But what I'm saying is that you're saying Shawn didn't put anyone over, and I'm tired of that narrative when you're talking backstage politics.
I'm giving you just a few names of people we held back.
A few people. Who did he hold back? Vader? Vader was a main event for him to hold back?
Yes, he was a main eventer when he was in WWE. He should have dropped the title in 96. Stop it, man. Get out of here, man.
Vader. Out of all people, you say he should have dropped the title to Vader.
Are you telling me Vader wasn't a good in-ring worker? Stop the nonsense, man.
Next question. Vader. Out of all people.
The Rock. Let's not forget that one. No one didn't have a program together.
All right. Well, real quick, Jay. So in terms of putting people over, or Carl said that after WrestleMania 10, Bret didn't do anything with his title run, but he had a long title run with his brother Owen Hart and may have lifted him up. They had a great match, and then he finally dropped the title to Bob Backlund. Just take us through some of Bret Hart's best rivalries, some of his different things, stuff that made him stand out, maybe not in the ring, not on the mic, but things that you remember from watching that made Bret Hart so special.
Him working as a heel just before he left and dropped the title to Shawn with the Hart Foundation was some of his best work. What?
That's all you got. But go ahead.
Fucking Shawn Michaels fan over here. We're talking about his work with Stone Cold Steve Austin helped to put him over. So a couple of those matches were really good matches. He had I think he had one match with The Rock when he was Rocky Maivia. Put him over that night. Well, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Of course, a bunch of great rivalries. Actually, one of the best ones he had that's underrated was Nitro, the Owen Hart tribute match with Chris Benoit. Put Chris Benoit over that night as well. The reality is, we all know the work that Bret Hart has put. I will never take anything away from Shawn Michaels as a performer, but he was a piece of shit human being. He was a motherfucker, and he was a cancer in the wrestling business. And the only thing that makes it worse is that Vince allowed it to happen.
Oh my God! You see, he's talking. See, his points are all about backstage politics, but he's not talking about the product.
Is that not part of it?
Randy Orton is a piece of shit.
It's a business that's
but nobody said anything about him though. Shawn Michaels did what he had to do, and then mind you, but again, look, you talk about Shawn being the piece of shit. But let me correct you though. Is Shawn saved after he comes back? Was he not saved? Did he not apologize for his mistakes? Yes, he did.
I've heard.
And then he put people over after that. Come on, man, stop it. You want to highlight his negatives.
Give me a break.
You want to talk about his positives when my man turned his life around and he became saved. And he became
I didn't say he didn't.
Yeah, and you didn't. But you want to highlight his negative stuff. Come on, stop it.
That's your job to highlight his positive stuff. I do want to say shout out to the veteran.
He was saved.
I want to say special acknowledgement to the veteran in Syracuse who whooped his ass and he had to drop the title. I just want to give a special acknowledgement to that veteran.
Yeah, so Carl, Shawn Michaels. So Jay says Shawn hasn't really put over any young talent. He did lose to John Cena. He did lose to The Undertaker at the end of his career. But especially in his second run from 2002 to 2008, was there anyone that Shawn really put over and got to the next level that was a young talent that maybe you can argue back? Or even before that in his first run?
He put over Chris Benoit in that triple threat match, didn't he? Did he not? And that was Chris Benoit's first championship reign.
Technically,
but he did.
Chris Benoit submitted Triple H, and Triple H was the champion. So
Shawn Michaels part of the match, and Shawn Michaels still lost. But okay, fine. You can make that argument. You say that he didn't help talent grow. Again, Triple H was part of that young talent that came in that was helped because of that, right? By aligning him with D-Generation X, he did help Triple H's career by putting him with Shawn Michaels. Did he not?
Are they not friends? And Triple H is another one. We can have another argument of that for another day.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm answering his question. He said, who did he help put over? Who did he help?
Did help put over Triple H, yeah.
He did. And plus, all those years, like when he came back the second time, he was wrestling people of his age. He wrestled Hulk Hogan, for crying out loud, okay? So
we all know how that went.
Yeah, we do know how that went. But all I'm saying is that Shawn in his prime, the goal of it is to be a top guy. We can sit here and nitpick and say he didn't help grow the business. But your focus and primary is for yourself, is it not? It's to be for yourself and go out there and perform.
Not in professional wrestling. You also have to put people over.
You don't have to do anything.
Cut the bullshit.
You don't have to do anything.
You have to put people over. It's part of the job.
No, you don't. You don't have to do anything. And Shawn,
you're full of shit right now.
It's not bullshit. You don't have to do anything. Shawn was the best of the best. Brett was just jealous of Shawn, and we knew what it was. It is what it is. I'm going to call it. It's true. He was jealous of him. Simple as that.
Yeah, of course he was. That's why Shawn was paranoid about everything. That's why he didn't want to put people over. Give me a break, dude. I'm not questioning his talent, but he's a piece of shit.
That has nothing to do
in the wrestling industry.
How many wrestlers were pieces of shit? But we don't sit here and
talk
about that.
We're talking about pro wrestling. We're talking about Shawn.
We're talking about pro wrestling. Mr. WrestleMania, the main event, he made losing look good. That's how good he was. What are you saying right now? You're basically telling me because he was a piece of shit human being, he's bad in the ring. Wrong. He's not bad in the ring.
He put on excellent package.
He put on excellent promos, excellent package. When he was a good heel, he was great as a heel. When he was a good guy, he was great as a good guy. So what are we talking about? If you're talking about pro wrestling itself, Shawn was great for the business. And that's not even talking about him as a tag team. When he was with Marty Jannetty, right? The Rockers. Wasn't that great?
The Hart Foundation. Hey, what's your point?
What are you talking about, man? Come on, stop it. You're saying it's nonsense, about backstage politics. We can talk about backstage politics all you want to. I'm not talking about backstage politics. I'm talking about the
He was one of the worst people for it. I don't question him in the ring.
That's what we're talking about.
We're not even talking about the Montreal Screwjob. I didn't even bring that up.
That wasn't even his fault. You know what, TK? Get to that point because I'm glad you mentioned that. Get to that point.
Let's go.
It wasn't his fault.
All right, so we'll go.
It wasn't his fault.
We'll head up here to the Montreal Screwjob and the things that happened up to it. If you watched the documentary Wrestling with Shadows, it's a great documentary leading into what happened there from Bret Hart's point of view. Jay, I don't know if you've seen the documentary, but it is great.
I've seen it. It's been a while, but I did watch some of it the other day, yes.
Yeah, it's very good. So give us, from the Bret Hart fan point of view, the Montreal Screwjob.
Basically what it was is him and Shawn did not get along. All right. I know the whole thing is if you're going to leave the company, you have to drop the title. He was going to forfeit the title the next night. It's not the first time this happened in professional wrestling, and it wouldn't be the last time. But Vince didn't want to do it that way for some reason, so he decided to fuck him in the ass and involve Shawn Michaels. And it's one of the reasons I really don't care for Shawn Michaels. Not as a talent, but to be a piece of shit like that. To be a part of that shows everything you need to know about Shawn Michaels. Carl, the floor is yours.
Carl, going to the Montreal Screwjob from a Shawn Michaels fan's perspective, you say that the backstage politics are a part of the game and they don't matter as much in determining where a wrestler falls. What are your thoughts of the Montreal Screwjob?
Vince is the boss. Vince made the call. I'm Shawn Michaels. I do my job. What's the problem? He didn't want Brett to leave with his championship. He had Medusa.
He was going to forfeit it the next night.
Can I finish?
Sorry,
now?
go ahead.
He had Medusa,
let's let Carl talk.
He had Medusa, who was a female wrestler, go on WCW with her title and throw it in the trash can. You think Vince, at the peak prime of the Attitude Era, have one of his best talents leave to go to the other brand that he's competing with, have a risk of a chance of him putting his championship, in the hands of WCW? There's nothing in this world that's guaranteed. Vince was protecting his business. So that had nothing to do with Shawn. If you want to talk about the Montreal Screwjob, what people don't understand is there a guarantee that Bret Hart would have showed up the next night and relinquished the championship? No, because he would not have been under contract. wouldn't have been under contract, so he could have decided that he was going to go. And you don't know, WCW had so much money back then, they were throwing money out their ass. They could have paid him God knows how much to say, listen, show up with the championship the following night. You see what I'm saying? So Vince did what he had to do. It was an ugly situation. You can't sit here and blame Shawn, because any given moment, anybody else in that situation is not going to jeopardize their job and their well-being because they decided to define their boss. So we're not going to sit here and play the if game. Shawn did what he did, and it's not his fault. You want to take a blame for that? It's Vince. And that's why Vince, and you want to talk backstage politics, let me use your argument. That's why in the locker room, what did Bret Hart do to Vince? I know you know it. What did he do to him backstage? It wasn't Shawn he attacked. He attacked Vince, not Shawn.
No, because Shawn was sitting there crying like a bitch. That's
he
why.
wasn't crying.
No,
it wasn't that.
God, I wasn't a part of it, man.
No, that's not what he told him. He asked him. That's how I know you're lying. If you watch the documentaries,
I watched it.
Bret asked Shawn, and Shawn said, "Yeah, I knew." He asked him, and then he went to the back.
No, he did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
You're bullshitting. You're bullshitting right now.
I'm not bullshitting. He went to go ask Shawn. He asked him, and he admitted it. He said he knew it. Yes, he did. Again,
now we bullshitting out here. Listen, I just watched it. TK. The only reason that Bret even knew that it was that Shawn had done something is because he started crying afterwards.
Listen, point being made is this. You're a businessman. You do what's best for your business. Bret Hart was leaving the company. He wasn't going to be under contract. Vince McMahon wanted to make sure that his title was not going to be on WCW product. Could it have been managed a different way? Absolutely. But it is what it is. And guess what? 13 years later, who comes back and shakes Vince McMahon's hand and everything is all hunky-dory? Bret Hart, who comes back in 2006 and gets a documentary. Money Talks. Bret Hart, who's a two-time Hall of Famer right now in the WWE. Bret Hart. So we're not going to sit here and try to blame Shawn Michaels for something that wasn't even part of his problem.
Was Shawn Michaels a part of it? Then he's guilty by association. So stop it.
Oh, wow.
Stop with all the yelling. Give me a break.
You hear this? He's guilty by association, right? All of a sudden
was he not involved in it? Was he involved in it? Yes or no?
Your boss tells you to do something. What do? You want to
not if it's wrong.
Then again, not if it's what? Money talks, man. You know this.
Get out of here, man.
Politics. This is unbelievable.
So, Carl.
We got to wrap up, TK. You have a final question.
Okay, so before we wrap up, Carl, just a quick follow-up question, then we'll get to final stuff here. But Shawn Michaels, the year before for WrestleMania 14, he did lose his smile and not drop the title to Bret, as was originally agreed. Bret was supposed to drop the title to him at WrestleMania 12. Shawn Michaels was supposed to drop the title back to Bret at WrestleMania 13.
Yes, exactly.
Shawn, a month before the pay-per-view, lost his smile and retired for about 3 or 4 months, then came back, got the title back.
We can't talk about that, though, can we? No, we can't talk about that.
Well,
go ahead.
Do you think that affects how Shawn Michaels is viewed by some fans, that might bring him down in their eyes?
He got hurt that year. It was diagnosed that he was hurt. That's why he didn't go to WrestleMania 13. I'm calling it what it is. Look it up. He was hurt. We want to talk about why he didn't. It wasn't a matter of losing his smile. He was hurt that year. And I know TK has a smile on his face because he's saying it's bullshit, but Shawn was hurt that year. That's all I'm going to say. Look it up. It's going to say documented. And people you can look it up all you want to, and you're laughing. But it's true. Shawn was hurt that year. That's why he didn't go on and do it. But people could go out there and judge his legacy all you want to. We know what Shawn was able to bring to the table. Again, are we going to sit here and paint every single wrestler to be greatest human beings ever? No. So, okay, we can sit here and nitpick how many of them were horrible people. But when you're talking wrestling, you're talking pro wrestling, when you're talking entertainment, it was Shawn Michaels. We're not going to sit here and deny that. We knew it was Shawn. So you can, again, I'm not taking away anything from Bret Hart in my close. I'm not taking away from Bret. I love Bret. He's in my top 5 all time. He's the greatest technical wrestler. I'm not going to take shit and take away from him. But Shawn is just better. It's simple.
Okay. All right. Well, Jay, let's wrap it up here. So your final thoughts about Bret Hart. Tell us why Bret Hart. I'm not looking to hear things about Shawn Michaels, but just tell us real quick in your final words why Bret Hart.
Not everything is about gyrating. Not everything is about being over the top. The man walked in and gave you quality match after quality match after quality match, and he wasn't a piece of shit in the background. That's why Bret Hart is on top. And one more thing, just real quick.
This is comical.
No word. That's one of the greatest things of all time.
Listen. My guy sung his own theme song. Come on, man. He was singing his own theme song. You can't get better than that. Like I can't get better than that. He's a sexy boy.
Get that bullshit out of here. I know I'm sexy. Fuck out of here. Fuck him. His own
theme song.
But he's still a great wrestler. But fuck him again.
He was singing his own theme song.
All right, Carl. Carl, you can't get mad at someone for singing their own theme song. I'll say that. But here at the end, why Shawn Michaels? Why the Heartbreak Kid?
It's simple. What I said has been said already. Shawn is the greatest in my opinion. He makes the Mr. Main Event, Mr. WrestleMania. He puts on classic matches. He had classic storylines. He's part of one of, if not the best group in WWE history in D-Generation X. And he started that with Triple H. So you can look at Shawn's catalog and put on excellent matches. Shawn was able to last a lot longer than Bret Hart, past his prime, well into his mid-40s, why people wondered why Shawn was still, why did Shawn give it up? Again, 2 top matches, which no one could ever argue, against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25 and WrestleMania 26. I gave you all the matches. I could give you all the storylines. Another classic moment we didn't mention was when he kicked Marty Jannetty through the barbershop glass. That was an iconic moment. We forget that. When Shawn Michaels comes down at WrestleMania 12, when he comes down with the zip and everybody sees him. Excellent moment there. The list goes on and on and on about what Shawn was able to do. Seiko feud against Chris Jericho, that feud against Chris Jericho with the detached retina late into Chris Jericho's prime, which is, I believe, about 2006, 2007, putting on classic matches. We can't sit here and deny all those moments. You want to sit here and talk backstage politics? That's fine, well and dandy. But when it push comes to shove, you want a main event, you go to Shawn Michaels because you knew he could put it on in a great quality match. He can't be denied for that. We have to stop it.
All right, well,
Shawn Michaels didn't have to use his daddy's name just to get somewhere. I'm sorry. He didn't have to use his Stu Dungeon of Art.
No, Bret Hart used his talent. That's what he did.
No, he didn't have to use the Stu Dungeon of Art. Shawn Michaels using his family's legacy to get him somewhere.
They might as well, him and Vince might as well 69ing each other. Get out of here.
Come on, man. Let's keep it real.
He should have been fired years ago. And said he was up Vince's ass.
He had to use the Hart family name just to get somewhere. We know what it is already. Come on, man. Let's not sit here and play this game.
I still think we were more civil here than the presidential debate, so I think it's a win for both sides.
Let the people vote. Let the people vote. Let the people vote.
That's what I'm saying. Let the people vote. Vote in the comments.
People make their decision. Let them make their decision.
Listen. I know I'm going to get in trouble tonight because my wife just told me I was yelling too loud, so I got to hear it because of you, Jay Lex. It's your fault. I'm going to get in trouble tonight.
It's okay. Boys, remember, you can always vote for Bret Hart or vote against Shawn Michaels, whatever you like. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for having me on, Carl, Jay. It's been great talking with you guys. And
talk to you guys soon. Thank you, guys.
Carl, the reins are back over to you.
All right. You guys are watching the Sports Hitters by the fans. And for the fans, I got a little too crazy. Excuse my emotions for getting too loud. I apologize to my wife. I know she's going to kill me later for all that yelling, but you are watching the Sports Hitters by the fans and for the fans live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. As we transition into Is Kareem Overrated, we have Mr. Andres here and Coach Womack. I don't know where Anthony Mullen is. I'm going to see if I can pull him up. But guys, how you doing?
Doing good, man.
Andre said he lost for years. I'm sorry, I lost it, man. I can't contain my cool when it comes to Shawn Michaels. I apologize for that. I just had to say what I had to say. So
you're valid.
Today we are here to talk about Kareem being overrated. Andres has been in the hitless streets debating this nonstop back and forth. Andres, this is your argument. You take the floor first while I search for Mr. Magic Mullen.
Well, beforehand, I always give a warning to Carl when I'm going to speak on human rights and stuff. Carl has always motivated us to use this as a platform. So right now I'm going to speak up on something that's non-basketball related. With the events of the election given on Saturday, we saw a winner in President Joe Biden. And there were a lot of people that supported Mr. Donald Trump that went on to social media and started saying, this is how you acknowledge a president without rioting, without looting, without stealing from stores. Let's get one thing straight. The reason why our African-American brothers were like rioting and looting is because one of their brothers died in the streets. And that's the reason why they were rioting and looting. They weren't rioting and looting because of the president. They were rioting and looting because an innocent man was choked to death for 8 minutes and 47 seconds. The day that I wake up and one of my African-American brothers is not on the news is the day that I'm going to start fighting for them. And I know what you guys are going to say. You're going to say, oh, well, you're not an African-American. You wouldn't know. You guys are right. But regardless, I'm going to continue to fight for them. And one day I'm going to wake up where we all love each other, regardless of our pigment. Carl, Coach, I always stand with you guys. And I'm just going to continue to say it. We're going to continue to fight. And one day we're going to wake up living in the country that we all want to. Regardless of what people say, regardless of what people think, we're going to make it happen. And you guys think that racism is going to magically go away with Biden, and that's fine. But listen, Rome wasn't built in a day. So I don't want to hear none of that of, oh, well, racism is not going to die the day of tomorrow. And you guys are probably thinking this is a political segment. Unless you're in bed with Kim Kardashian or Janet Jackson, you don't have anything better to do on this Wednesday afternoon. So just sit back, kick your feet and watch the show. Now, let's move on to basketball. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he is the leading scorer of all time, and a lot of people say that he has a GOAT argument because of his 6 championships and his 6 most valuable player awards. Regardless, you can't judge a player for what the era that they played in. That's the era that God put them in, but you can't look at the competition. When Kareem won his 6 MVPs, the competition wasn't what it was in the 90s compared to when Michael Jordan won his 5 MVPs. And when it comes to his championships, whenever he wasn't playing with Magic Johnson or Oscar Robertson to hold his hand, Kareem wasn't making the finals. So let me start off with that.
Coach.
First of all, thank you for the words earlier, Andre. It's good to use.
Absolutely, man, for sure. We got to use the platform, for sure.
Use your platform to talk. But, I'm only here to introduce the guy coming up right here because, I'm the tag team. Once he takes his do-rag off with the spinning waves.
I know.
Wave check.
But I'll start off by saying this. Overrated is a tough word because it's an opinion based because it's where you rate the person. It's if you rate Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the GOAT and someone else doesn't, then it's your 2 opinions. It's all about where you rate him. Technically for me, I think it's tough to say he's overrated because of everything that he's accomplished. I know you say you can't, he didn't play against the toughest competition, but my answer to that is always, why wasn't everyone else putting up those same numbers? Like if there was another player that was playing in that same era, why didn't they put up the same numbers that Kareem did? Why didn't they get the 30 points per game? Why didn't they get the same MVPs? Why didn't they have the most unstoppable move to me in NBA history, which is the hook shot?
It was foolish notion to begin with.
So I'll let you take it away. That was my opening for you. I was leading the floor to you.
Yes, this here will be sponsored by Duce. And I just wanted to say I didn't hear any of.
You didn't have the network come after me, man. We gotta let them know if we got sponsors. You can't be saying.
Chill. I'm working here.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm working here.
Go ahead.
Like I said, so I didn't even hear what Andreas had to say in the beginning purposely because I didn't need to hear it. First things first, there's no way, no how on any scale or any level, at any level of basketball, can you say Kareem is overrated or doesn't get his just due kudos for what he's done in the game. Now, again, like Mac already stated, this guy wants to say, oh, he hasn't played anybody. And excuse me, Mr. Numbers. Your numbers should have told you, in fact, he's actually played 12 Hall of Fame centers. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 12 Hall of Fame, not players that was just in the game. I didn't have to guard you or whatever, different position. 12 Hall of Fame centers. Would you like their names?
Go right ahead. I know like 10 of them, so go right ahead.
Oh, okay, because it's very easy. I'll just go Wilt, Nate, Willis Reed, Wes Unseld, Dave Cohen, Bob Lanier, McAdoo, Moses Malone, Artis Gilmore, Hakeem, Ewing, Bill Walton. Like these names don't ring. These are just pushovers.
I'm listening, bro. You got it.
No, I asked you a direct question. So those are just pushovers. Those are no competition.
He only won one MVP against Dr. J because he
was I didn't ask you how many questions he won. I mean, how many MVPs he won. I asked you a simple question. So you said he didn't play anybody. So those you were consider pushovers.
Compared to who Michael played against, yes.
Compared to who?
Compared to who Michael played against, yes.
Okay, so let me ask that question. So you know.
Hold on, Michael Red? Which Michael are you talking about?
Okay.
Only Michael, man. Come on.
So Andre, so you compare.
I'm sorry, Carl. I can't let him slide. Who did Michael play exactly?
No. Let Carl ask this question.
No. You're not gonna run from that. You said Michael played more. Who did Michael play? Because you're gonna name names. You're gonna name names, but you're not gonna name people that Michael actually had to stand across from. So again, tell me who did Michael Jordan play? What was his competition since he had more?
Who he won his MVP against? Who he won his MVP against?
Name me 12 Hall of Fame shooting guard. I'll even make it simpler for you.
It doesn't have to be shooting guards.
Perimeter players. I'll even make it. No, I'll even say perimeter players. Name me 10 perimeter players, 10 perimeter Hall of Famers that Michael had to go against. I'll wait.
So what you're saying is it's more. It's not. You're telling me it's more impressive to win an MVP against Dave Cowens, Bob McAdoo. But no. I'm speaking. Bill Walton,
I'm listening.
Dave Bing, Bob Lanier, Tiny Archibald, and Wes Unseld. That's more impressive than winning 5 MVPs against Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson.
Didn't have to play him. Go ahead. Didn't have to play him. Go ahead.
I'm not finished speaking.
Go ahead. You said competition. You didn't have to play those guys. Didn't have to play him.
I'm not finished talking.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hold on, Carl. I just want to let them know I'm joining you right now as a bystander and as an interviewer. I've switched. This is the first Sportsman's history. This is a good one-on-one matchup. I'm joining you to ask a couple questions when I can. Just wanted to let you know that.
No, you're here to help him. Sometimes he's going to need help. So when I say help him, Matt, you're here to help. You're his lifeline because he may not have the numbers on hand, so you can look up the numbers for him.
Come on now. All right, so it's more impressive to win an MVP against those players instead of Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Clyde Drexler, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, Penny Hardaway, and Gary Payton. It's more impressive to win an MVP against the first 12 players you named than the 12 I named.
To answer that question before you finish, yes. And out of those people you named, because I counted, maybe 5 to 6 or 4 to 5 he only again had to stand in front of. We're not gonna add. I'll give you Magic, but I'm not gonna give you Magic because if I remember correctly, when he was facing Magic, the Lakers actually won that game, and then they actually put who was that? See, this is what your numbers don't tell you.
Pippen, I know that.
No, stop. And then they put who? They put Scotty on him because again, my son Worthy, big game James got hurt, so there was no need to worry about him, who was the guy of the team, the first option at the time. And then now you can be quiet, and then now you can focus on Magic. So I wouldn't even give him that because again they lost the game. You would say he faced that. So okay, 4. So that's 4 to 12. Mr. Numbers, what's greater?
Look at you.
The competition.
Hold on. Wait.
The competition Kareem played against was not better than the competition Michael played against, bro. The MVP.
I just named you 12 Hall of Famers.
So those. Let me get this straight. Dave Cowens, is he on your top 10 list?
Of what?
Of your list of all time, your personal top 10
of all time centers.
No, players.
Again, of all time
Answer
centers.
My question.
No.
Of players. No. Bob McAdoo, is he on your top 10 of players?
Of centers, yes.
Of players,
of centers, yes.
He took them off his picture. That's crazy. That's the first.
He's back. But wait,
I got a call. Go ahead.
But
centers, yes.
No, I'm not talking centers. I'm talking players.
Yes, I know because you're trying to be slick.
I'm not trying to be slick. I'm trying to get
you are because remember this. I just listed 12 Hall of Fame centers. Don't make me go to Hall of Fame players that Kareem had to face. Don't make me go to Hall of Fame players because that can go up to 20.
Paul, listen, Paul. I read the room, man. I'm just letting them go, but I just want to make this point. Let me ask Coach this question. Is that competition argument fair when we're comparing players and who they played? Like when we look at a player's legacy and MVPs, do we sit here and compare and say, well, they didn't play the top tier players, so their MVPs are not as valuable as somebody else's? Coach,
I told you, for me, that's not a good argument because
horrible argument.
Because I say because if it's the competition, why wasn't everyone doing it? You get what I'm saying? Like if it was that bad of a competition, why didn't Wilt win 20 MVPs? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Why didn't he win 6 championship MVPs?
For sure.
Why didn't who else? We got Dr. J. Like if it was that bad of competition, he's in that same
coach.
But he came. What year did he come in?
What year did he come back? 77 when the ABA finished.
77, right? He came in 77.
Yeah,
he still played at least
in 1980.
Yeah, and he still
played. So he didn't
play
against Kareem.
He played 7 seasons.
That was the only year that Kareem won MVP in the 80s, bro.
Champion.
Say that again.
Talking about he still didn't win any championships. You gotta let me finish. You gotta let me finish.
Championships? All right, so this is what we're gonna do, Coach.
Hold on, you didn't let me finish.
Listen.
You didn't let me
Kareem
finish.
played. All right, continue, Coach.
You let me finish. What I'm saying is that those people, if Dr. J came in around the same type of era, he could have won multiple championships if he was that great.
He won.
He was that great. He won one.
Wait, who did he play against? Who did he play against in those finals?
Who did he play against in the final? What does that have to do with how great you are?
Right.
Who did he play in that year? Who did he play that year?
You know, obviously said. You don't got to ask me. I know he played in the finals. But
Continue,
you don't
Coach.
have
What does it matter? What is your point?
Continue, Coach.
No, what's your
all I was
point?
saying was my argument is that everyone uses the era argument, even with Ant. And Ant, that's another debate where he talks about who Michael Jordan played against. And I always say, well, if other players, if an era was that bad, other players would have been able to do the same thing MJ did. And I use the same kind of thing to say about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. If it was that bad, other players would have ran the show and did just as much as he accomplished. He's the leading scorer in NBA history, not only just because of longevity, because he had the most unstoppable move ever. If anybody in any sport can say, I have the most unstoppable move, the best home run hitter, the best quarterback who has the most TDs in NFL history, in baseball, if you have the most hits in baseball history, it's tough to say you're overrated.
And Matt, I only bring up that argument again to beat people over the head with their foolish logic, because again, I don't subscribe to that. I don't feel you can say, oh, you can take this era and that era. Again, like said, I actually subscribe to you played who you played, and that was just it. You can't help when you were born or whatever the case. But
hold on.
Because a lot of people subscribe to that, I then use it to dissect their arguments because they want to, just like he tried to say, MJ played tougher competition. Well, no, he didn't.
Yes,
all you're saying is that maybe which is again the thing for every era, because again the league gets greater every year, every era. All you're saying is that there were better / maybe greater players in his era. Not his actual competition, but just actual players. No. But you're talking about actual play. Okay, you're talking about players that again he didn't have to face. You're just bringing up players and saying, he had to go against this guy.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, that his MVPs are more impressive.
Who?
Okay, so for you, okay, so for you, Andre,
how?
You basically value the MVPs. You'd say players' MVPs are more impressive than others. That's how you rate them in terms of when you're talking about.
To a certain extent, yes. To a certain extent, yes.
Because why?
Like, do you know what Wilt and them was putting up?
A lot of people don't like to use context when it comes to that. Like,
who was putting up Wilt numbers?
Hold on, Ant. Let him finish. Go ahead, Mr. Numbers.
Like, for example, like Giannis last year, he probably won like the 4th best MVP. If you watched him play last year, the only players that had a better MVP season was Shaq in 2000, LeBron in 13, and Steph in 16. That's only.
Foolish.
Well, it's not though.
Okay, so Andres, back to the point of Kareem. Where do you rank him then, all time? I think Coach is trying to ask that question, right, Coach?
Top 10.
He's top 10.
Foolishness.
That's a very.
You want me? Listen, let me break it down for you. I could break it down for you. All right.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
All right. So in 1971, what happened, Coach?
Knicks?
Yeah, no, that was his rookie year. 1971, they traded for Oscar Robertson. They won the championship.
That wasn't his rookie year.
Okay.
His rookie year was 1970.
Wrong. That wasn't his rookie year.
His rookie year was 1970.
He didn't have Oscar Robertson. His rookie year, he won Rookie of the Year, and then Oscar. No, it's not what you said.
I could bet you $200 right now. In 1971, not 70. 1970, he lost to the Knicks. All right? 1970, he lost to the Knicks. 1971, he traded for Oscar Robertson. He won the championship. They had the number 1 defense, number 1 offense, and they had an increase in 10 wins. In 1972, they played the Lakers. They lost in Game 6. Why?
Right.
Oscar Robertson got hurt. 1970.
Okay.
The Bucks
What's your point?
Games. Can I continue? I'm breaking it down year by year. In 1973, the Bucks won 60 games. Who did they lose to? The Warriors, right? How many games did they win? 47. 1974, the Bucks had home court against the Celtics. Did they win? No, right? 1975, Oscar finally retires. Now we get to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the greatest player of all time, the GOAT, the savior, the man that could cure cancer. Without Oscar.
Oh, yeah?
In 1975, they had a 38-44 record. They missed the playoffs. 1976, the Bucks had the same record as the previous.
All right, stop it. We're not gonna do this all day. Stop it. First of all you're saying is that you need a team to win championships. Okay, so what's your point?
Because
you need a team to win championship. No.
The championship.
That's a lie. There's no one player who's gonna be great enough to beat a whole team. No player. Every championship team had a great team. Like, what are you talking about? Of course, if the player gets, and then I know what you were trying to get to, and I'm going to get to it for you. You wanted to get up to 80 when Kareem got injured, and then you want to say, oh, well, the Lakers still won. But guess what? The Lakers won as a committee, as a team, not because one player. Because again,
what's your excuse?
Yeah, no, be quiet, because y'all love bringing up what Magic did. Oh, 42 and this and that or whatever. But have you ever heard of Silk? Do you know? Let me make it a little easier for you. Have you ever heard of Jamal Wilkes?
Yes.
You ever heard that name? So you know he put up 33 and 13 in that game 6, right?
That game 6, 100%. Yes.
Do you know who won MVP in 1980?
That's funny you say that. In the previous years, listen to me. In 1978 and 1979, Kareem had Jamal Wilkes, and they lost to the Supersonics. In 1980. Yes, they did. In 1980, Magic Johnson gets drafted.
I said, what's your point?
1980, Magic Johnson gets drafted and they magically win. Why?
Because they got better. The team got better. Like, what? That's as stupid as saying, oh, last year, the Lakers, we were like 4th seed without Anthony Davis, and now with Anthony Davis here, we win the champions. Duh. Like, you're not like, what do you thought you just discovered America or something? Like, what are you saying? You're not saying anything. All you're saying is.
What's his excuse for getting outplayed by Moses Malone multiple times?
Hold on, let me ask a question.
Why is it an excuse?
Hold on, Ant. Let me ask a question.
What do you mean was an excuse?
Let me ask a question. So, in that case, and I'm playing devil's advocate, it's going to hurt me to say this because I'm playing devil's advocate, but what say ye to the players, to the people who say, well, if Michael Jordan's your GOAT, look how long it took him to win a championship. Look who had to come to play with him until he got to the promised land, and they go through all his careers of just having great numbers, but no hardware or no championship results until Scottie Pippen got there. So, if we're gonna use that same thing to go against Magic, then we got to use it for all the great players who rarely none of them win until they have a second.
Which is why it's a foolish argument.
But the reason why those Bulls were first exit teams was because Scottie Pippen was averaging 10 points a game.
Right, but you know what, Coach? To be fair, though, that 1980 series, for those who don't know, Kareem was the best player in that series until he got hurt.
Was supposed to be Finals MVP.
I know the best player. Yeah, we all know that. So,
and hold on, let me.
What happened?
Go ahead. My bad.
No, go ahead, Ant.
All right, and that's why I wanted to break the whole season down because I know he wanted to get there so bad. Who was the MVP in 1980?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay. Who led the league in PER, blocks? Who led the playoffs in PER, blocks, points, win share, and plus minus? You don't know. I'm going to tell you. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So again.
So wait. So time out. So Magic Johnson was able to win a finals game off
of one game.
But Kareem
averaging 21 and 11. He averaged 21 and 11 in that season. Kareem averaged, in that series. In that series, he averaged 21 and 11. Kareem averaged 33 and 13. He wasn't there, so I guess the optics, I don't know, I'm just going to put on my media man hat. I guess because of the optics, or whatever the case may be, and being that he was hurt, they just gave it to somebody who was there. I don't know. I can't tell it. But again, you cannot, without knowing you're wrong, or whatever, say that Kareem shouldn't have been the Finals MVP still.
So what are we... Time out. Let me throw out a hypothetical.
No, say yes. Just say yes about that. Then go to your hypothetical.
Yes, whatever.
Okay, all right.
Carl, let's say the Celtics, right? Let me bring up a good example. If Paul Pierce won a game 6 against the Lakers without Kevin Garnett and without Ray Allen, what would they say about Paul?
That's not what happened, though. Don't say that. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. We won without one player. You just named about 2 or 3.
All right, so
that's not what happened. That's not what happened.
If Scottie Pippen won Game 6 against the Jazz in '98 without Michael Jordan, what would the narrative be?
What do you mean? The narrative would be they won. Like,
wouldn't we hold it against Michael that he had help? Yes or no?
Of course not. Who holds it against the play that they had? Name me a championship team without help. That's why that's a stupid argument.
You know how I feel about that word.
No. Let him dig this grave. Name me a team who's won without help. And that's another thing I'm glad you brought up, because the Lakers, we were so deep that year that we can do that. We were so deep that we can have Michael Thompson, a #1 pick overall, I believe, coming off the bench. Do you know your history?
So why did they lose to the Rockets the next year, who only won 40 games?
Because we lost, they won. What do you want me to say?
I know why they lost that game.
Kareem gets outplayed by Moses Malone and they lose.
All right, guys, we're running up on time. Let's make our final points here, Coach. Your final thoughts. I mean, I wanted it was a 2-on-1, but we stepped back and allowed them to
because
cook,
this is not I can just jump in and just say what I think. I think both have very good arguments, but it goes to
he doesn't have a good argument. Don't lie. Don't be nice to him.
Finish.
Don't be nice to him.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar retiring and the Lakers made the finals in 1991. Oh wait, it happened. He's a bum.
It goes to where that's where you're going crazy. You call Kareem a bum.
I call him.
He just broke down why his whole argument.
It's not though. When you get outplayed by other great centers, you're not great at what you do. I'm sorry.
When?
What do you mean when? 1981, he got outplayed by Moses Malone. 1983, he got outplayed by Moses Malone again. He got outplayed by Hakeem Olajuwon. What are you talking about?
Outplayed by who?
What do you mean by who? I just told you. He just got outplayed.
He did not get outplayed. The team, they won. They had the better team.
No, the Lakers had 5 players in double figures. The Rockets only had 1. What are you talking about?
What does that mean?
Take a lap, Coach. Finish up.
What does that mean?
Take a lap.
You're telling me what happened. You're not telling me how they're the better team. That's just like saying, because the Bulls only had Jordan scoring 30, that they weren't a better team than the teams that they played because they only had one guy in double figures.
I just peeped your name, bro.
So again,
guys, we got to wrap up. If we want a part 2, we could do a part 2. You know I'm game for it.
There shouldn't even been a part 1. He shouldn't even been allowed to say that Kareem was overrated. Okay, 11-time All Defensive Player, 15-time All NBA, 6 MVPs, the second most. He has a scoring chance. The second most points as ever scored as a center.
Oscar and Magic, nothing, 0, nada.
So.
What do you mean, so?
What does name me? Okay, so what did Matt? You said MJ. What did MJ do without Pippen?
I'm not the one arguing for that. I'm arguing for.
No, you did. You said MJ You said MJ was better because of X, Y, and Z, and he had a better career and this and that. So, and you did say that MJ played better competition and stuff. So again, what did he do without Pippen? Using your argument,
He did the second 3-peat. The Bulls
without Pippen. Without Pippen? Without Pippen. I didn't ask you about that. Without Pippen.
The Bulls statistically had the worst.
I didn't ask you about stats. I asked you what did they win? What did they win without Pippen? What did they win without Pippen?
1997, 1998.
What did they win without Pippen? In 95, what happened when they even had Pippen?
95. Huh? It wasn't the same Michael. Everyone was saying that wasn't the same Michael. What happened in the next
year? When he scored 55 in the Garden, he was back. When he scored 55 in the Garden, he was back. What are you talking about? Now it's not the same Michael.
Now it's not the same Michael. The Orlando Magic players themselves said it wasn't the same Michael. If you watched The Last Dance, he would.
Okay. So let's go back to the other. Okay, so. And you want to know what actually happened? They didn't have it.
Pete, Coach is decided not to talk. He's stepping back. That's why, Pete. I see you in the comments. Thank you, bro. He's just decided not to talk. That's why. Guys, we really got to wrap up. Final thoughts.
Let me finish my thought. Okay.
Go ahead. My fault.
This is my thought. When rating players, we have to understand this is an opinionated sport.
100%.
There's no concrete answer to where a player should be or should be not. It's just up to the people who debate to get the viewers to go more on your side based upon the conversation that we have. When it comes to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you have to first start off with the question is where do you put him? If you put him as the greatest player of all time, then this is where Andre Smith, the numbers, is going to argue to. But if someone says I have Kareem as my number 9 player, Andres is not going to say you're overrated. He's going to say that's about where I have him. And
I need him to name 7 or 8 players who he put before Kareem.
So that's what we need to start, Carl.
Next time we can do that. Do you want me to name them?
We need to start with where they're at.
All right.
And that's where we could get it.
Michael, LeBron, Kobe Bryant, Hakeem,
what?
Bird, Bill Russell, Tim Duncan. That's 9. Kareem had fun being at 10.
Tim Duncan? Yeah. We know why you missed the numbers. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Okay, guys. That'll do it here for the Sports Hitlers.
Wait, what about my final thoughts? Come on.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir.
Tim Duncan.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
You just made your final thought.
In the 5 years that Kareem played without Oscar or Magic, he missed the playoffs twice. He got swept with home court advantage. He only won 2 playoff series, and he didn't beat a single team that won 50-plus games.
Foolish narratives.
Listen, as much as I want to say something, I'm trying my best not to be
foolish narrative. No, tell him he's dumb. No, tell him. Tell him it's dumb.
Listen, Andres, I have nothing but respect for you, but again, when we talk sports, we do sit here and say, no player has done it by themselves. So I understand your argument and I understand your perspective on it. But when we assess players and their legacies, we do look at the players that they do have around them. We look at players in their championship runs and the role players or players who play impactful for them to do it. We do know that players can't do it alone.
Yeah, but you guys don't give flag to Kareem as much as you do to like Kobe and all the players.
Like flag for what exactly?
Flag for missing the playoffs.
We get
flag for missing the playoffs.
No, you don't. You guys give flag Kareem for missing the playoffs? Hell no.
Who brings up missing the playoffs?
Go ahead, Coach. What were you saying?
No, I said for me, I don't have Kareem as the greatest player of all time. And
I don't either.
I don't have him as 10 either. So that's why I said it comes to where you put him. Like if Andres was to argue with me and say he's 10, I'm gonna say I don't have him quite as 10. But like me and Ant have gotten in debates with Ant has him as Ant. You have him as the greatest, right, Ant?
Numero uno.
So
and Will is the greatest, bro. Make up your mind. Come on.
No, Will is the best. 2 different things.
Listen,
it's a difference between being the greatest and the best.
I see Paul in the comments talking about Jimmy Butler took the Heat by himself to the finals. No, he didn't. Stop.
Oh, who?
No, he did not.
Paul Akese. I don't know what he's talking about.
No, he did not.
He didn't.
I love Jimmy, but no, he did not.
He didn't. But again, to your argument, I think Andres, part of the problem with that, us giving people flack is when we're assessing errors. I'm not trying to make this as an excuse. You have to keep in mind, again, there was no social media in terms of giving people flack back in the 70s.
No, I'm talking about You weren't watching the news in 05, 04, 06?
I was watching the news then. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Right, but again,
hold on. Everybody in their era got flack for not achieving what they were supposed to. But then at the end of the day, after you make that up and stuff like that, it's nothing to talk about anymore. That's like Magic when they used to say tragic Magic because he held the ball and let the time run out and all of that, whatever the case may be. Stuff happened, and then what happens? When your greatness overrides that, it's nothing to talk about no more. People will look stupid, which is why you look rather foolish, bringing up, oh, well, such and such didn't make the playoffs in this year.
It's facts, though. If you're that good, you should be able
to... It is, but it's irrelevant facts. That's what you always come with. Like on-off numbers. On-off numbers are relevant facts.
There wasn't any on-off numbers back then, pal.
No, I'm just telling you the relevant facts you subscribe to.
Like I said, there's no excuse for being the greatest of all time missing the playoffs. I'm sorry.
It's a good argument, man. That's a good argument. That's a good
argument. Teams make the playoffs, not players.
I know.
Teams.
But
nothing. Teams make the playoffs.
You can't name another. You can't name.
He just said he had LeBron. LeBron didn't make the playoffs last year.
That was an injury. He was injured, right?
No. So what?
So that plays a difference. If you play a full season and you're in your prime and you don't make the playoffs as one of the best players ever, that gets you something.
What does that matter? What does that matter?
It means you could be the difference. You are still a part of your team.
You're the most valuable player.
You are still a part of your team.
Yes, you are. But if your team is not that good, especially if you're playing in the toughest division, if you're playing in the toughest conference,
so we're allowed to.
That's like saying the East. That's like saying the East to the West. You have teams again who are under 500 that make the playoffs in the East. You know how many teams in the West wish they could play? They could be in the Eastern Conference so their team can make the playoffs. Like, what are you talking about?
Guys, I got to get ready for a Mount Rushmore in a couple minutes. But this was fun. This was great. If you guys want to do a part 2, thank you for tuning in.
Sunday been a part 1.
One more thing. Black liberation matters.
Absolutely, for sure, man. Thank you, Andres, for your opening comments.
Andreas, wave check. Take your hat off. Let me see your waves. Wave check.
Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to all of our content. Coach, man, congratulations. Out of the entire NFL panel, you had 11 picks last week, man. 11.
Listen, I'm telling these guys, listen. Let me
big speaker. Let them know.
You know how you get your 1 minute after around the horn? Let me get my 1 minute. I told these guys, when it comes to sports, especially basketball and football, I know what I'm picking. 11-3, right? I went 11-3 last week.
I think so. Yeah, you're leading Travis 65-62, man. Great job.
Trav, and some weeks I just take off. Some week I wake up on Sunday, call hits me up at 9 a.m. I'm on Zoom on church, and I just start picking names and throwing it to them. But I took my time last week. I'm gonna take my time again this week. Trav, just you're not ready for this, man. Just you got to call maybe college football. Maybe you can pick more than me in college.
So we got the NFL kickoff show Sundays at 12:15. We also got next week is the NBA draft. I know Coach will be here for that to break down who should go. I know BBB is up. I heard his stock dropped in the draft. I don't know if you'll.
They just talking because they hating on LeVar. They just talking. You know who going number one?
A womb bomb, but I got real good info that the Heat are looking to trade into the first round, and they're looking to trade him into the picks in between the range of about 13 to pick 20. So I don't know who's interested, but I know they actually saw a player today or yesterday. Riley saw a player today. I won't say the player's name. Who's going to be in between pick 13 to 20.
So you just heard the Wom bomb here live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
That's on Wom.
That's Wom. Anthony, thank you, my brother, for always sharing our content and getting our numbers up. You are good with it, what you do. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you to all the sports.
You know why I'm here.
The challenge in booking this show, I will say, is that as much as we put on a great show, now my mind is thinking, all right, what are we talking about next week? So I'm going to start hitting up the contributors to see if we can get some topics. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Happy Veterans Day to all our veterans, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. See you guys next week.
Sipping Douce with my vet right now.
Make sure you pull up, and you guys take care. Stay safe.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.